Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the QDC Superior Red Vermilion. I believe this is the way to correctly say it. This is a single DD from QDC that is apparently only available in the Japanese market. And this particular unit, I had my good friend Gustavo help me get it. So my thank you to him, otherwise I wouldn't be having it right now to review. And yeah, let's get straight into it. This is the box. I've actually already opened it up because it's a little bit of a hard one to open it up. Inside, the accessories, the cable, let's not talk about it. Honestly, QDC, this is $100 roughly. You could do better than this cable. You can see how it is. It tangles, it's a 2-pin cable, but it's an absolute mess. I just, no. Tips are fine. The tips actually are not bad. They've got these dual flange, and then they've got these like kind of narrowish bore normal ones. It's okay. The tips are okay, although I didn't use the tips because of fitment issues. Okay, it's got a little cleaning tool, as you can see, and it obviously brings a case, which is a very usual QDC case. Nothing spectacular. It fits nicely, so that's it. Okay, so that's that there. Let's put this out of the way here. Okay, IEMs. The pictures actually make the Superior look nicer than what it actually is in person. What I'm saying by that is that it's a nice IEM. It looks nice. Okay, it looks very nice. It's a resin shell with this kind of red vermilion, I don't know what you want to call it, finish. But the pictures make it look more grandiose than what it actually is. I'll have to admit that. I have to say that the pictures seduced me more than what I then saw in person. However, that's just me. I'm not using the stock cable, as you guys have been able to see. Fit is perfect. Absolutely no issues with the fit. Isolates beautifully. I'm using KB Ear 07 tips, the medium size, the blue ones. It fits faultlessly. Nothing to say. It's a nice light IEM. It's got a 10mm dynamic driver, 16 ohm impedance. I have absolutely no idea what is the diaphragm. I'm sure it must have been there in the Japanese website saying what it is. But my apologies. My Japanese is a little bit rusty, so I don't know exactly what it is, the diaphragm that they're using. But it's a 10mm driver, and that's it. Okay. Anyway, what can I then tell you about what we want to know, which is what does the Superior sound like and all of that. Well, let's rewind here a little bit and make a little bit of an intro. Okay. The IEMs that I have here, and I've actually got two IEMs here from Richo. One is the SG01, which has been a long time favorite of mine. So the SG01, the SG03S, which is their latest release, the oldie but goldie blonde 03, BL03, and then the TT Romso, the Tipsy TT Romso, and the Venture Electronics SIE. All of these IEMs, what they have in common is a very non-Harman kind of style of tuning. They've got all of them have got a very nice prominent bass, and then different levels of mids, different levels of highs. I guess you could ultimately call them kind of W-ish tuning style, because there is dips after there's peaks at 2 or 2 something K, and then peaks again at 5 or 5 something K, and those accompanying dips between those peaks create, I guess you could say, a W styled signature. So these IEMs are not the usual Harman style tuning, which is perhaps favored by many, and safe for the companies because they know they will sound well and they will be accepted well and that people will like them, and it will be an easy sale. No, these are all different in their style of tuning. The blonde obviously was the style of the tuning of the blonde was very popular back in 2018, 2019, and thus the Richo S03 sorry, the Richo SG01 kind of follows the same type of tuning, a little bit less bass, but a little bit more clarity in the mids and the highs. The SG03S follows the same style of tuning, but even more energy in the mids, especially in the transition from mids to upper mids. And then these two, what they have is a more relaxed initial pinna gain, but then with a quite energetic 4, 5, 6, 7K area, and then extension past 10K. The Superior follows more or less this philosophy here, not so much that one or that style, although when I show you the graphs in a couple of minutes, you'll see they all look very, very similar. It follows more the style of the Blonde. Actually, you could say, and this was the first item that immediately jumped to mind, it has a tuning which is very similar to the Blonde. So nice bass, not as emphasized as the Blonde, but then with the peaks there at that 2 to something K, 4 something K, and then extension past 8, past 10K, not as much as the Blonde. Same thing like on the SG01 and on the SG03. So it kind of follows that. But it's the balance ultimately between the bass and then the mids and the highs, which kind of then gives you the final result in terms of, is it nice to listen to, isn't it nice to listen to. And the reality is this, the Blonde, and I'm starting with the Blonde so that I can set the stage better for the rest. The Blonde was a game changer, period, in the story. It was a game changer because it offered a performance that was not expected at that price point, and it beat way more expensive IEMs, and still today, even now when I was preparing this review, the moment I put on the Blonde, we get stuck sometimes in, oh no, this is correct sounding, that is not correct sounding. No, it's like I've said countless times before, we have to understand what is the idea of the tuning behind that particular IEM. What was the idea in the mind of the engineer? Now, has he executed it properly? Has he done it properly? Yes, fine, fantastic. Hasn't he done it properly? That's a different story. And the truth is, every one of these IEMs have faults if you are now going to go down the road of the audiophile correctness. Oh, it must be audiophile balanced, audiophile correct. Excuse my language now, screw that. This is not about being audiophile. This is about being old school in the way they present their music. So all of these IEMs have an old school presentation. All of these IEMs have a fun and engaging, it's satisfying and organic. They are vibrant. End of story. These are not IEMs for those of you that are wanting now the ultimate imperfection, the ultimate in execution of frequencies, of transition from sub bass into mids and into treble. This is not what this is. I mean, I'm saying this, I'm kind of ranting actually, and I'm thinking about the Voodoo. That is exactly the Voodoo. The Tangzu Voodoo is precisely that. It's an IEM that was tuned to be fun. So when I hear certain people say that, oh, because, it is not correct and it's boring, this, okay, fine, it's their opinion, granted. But I think they are forgetting that it was tuned to be that way. It was tuned to be fun, organic, old school, and it does it well. End. That's it, period. To now say, oh, but because the mids are forward or recessed or this or that, and they are using comparisons and saying that, oh, it doesn't do very well vocals. No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Let's be fair. Have Tangzu done what they proposed to do right? Done it properly? Yes, they have. That's it. Okay, it's an IEM that has a specific market, a specific niche, a specific group of people that will like it, and it's not an IEM that is for people that are wanting the ultimate imperfection. And that's exactly what's in front of us. Every single one of these IEMs is about being fun. Period. Okay? Blonde, it had great bass. Okay, maybe a little bit too bloated, but was it tonally and timbre, was it correct? Very. The timbre and the tonality of the blonde has always been its seductive point, at the point that grabs your attention. You know, you don't expect it because you have that much bass, but somehow the bass comes across nice and clean, lush. It's got body. It's like if you were listening to home speakers, you know, and it's well done. It's got great mids. Okay, the extension up top could be a little bit more. What is there sometimes gets a little bit harsh. Fine, but overall, nice IM. Really, really solid. SG01. SG01. It's got a little bit less bass than the blonde, a little bit more mids. You know, that area there between, let's say, the initial Pina gain and then 7-8K, a bit more energetic than the blonde and way more extension past 10K. Better highs, definitely. The mids, they are good, but also they will reach their limits quicker, where you will reach a point where, okay, now I'm not going to turn up the volume because it might get aggressive. But overall, fantastic IM, really, really good. Richo SG03S. It's got tuning nozzles, and doesn't matter which nozzle you select, you know, the mids and the upper mids are very intense, and they will reach that limit even before the SG01 reaches. So they will because the bass is basically the same. I mean, this uses a graphene driver, and for a graphene driver, it's got great extension. Okay, the blonde uses a CNT driver, if you, by the way, don't remember. This uses an LCP. And it's got very good highs. The mids and the upper mids and the highs are really good quality. The thing is, they're just too intense. So what have I done? I have taken one of the nozzles, which comes, one of the extra, well, not extra nozzle, but one of the nozzles which supposedly gives you a different tuning, although the difference is very minimal. I've taken that nozzle and I've put in a 450 filter on that, okay, on the actual nozzle. And to be honest with you, to be totally honest with you, that's how I did the majority of the listening. Because by doing the 450, what I've done is I've taken away those peaks there, 2 and 4K more or less. I've taken away, I've plateaued it nicely. There's a dip then there around the 5-6K area, which sometimes gets a little bit sibilant. There's a dip there, and then the rest of the extension maintains itself. So what it's done is it's made the SG03 what it should be in one of the tuning nozzles, period. If you want one of the tuning nozzles to have all that extension, you have it there. But if you want one which is a little bit more relaxed, that's how it is now. And in that way, in that format, it is absolutely amazing. Fantastic IM, fantastic. I honestly hope that Richo listens to what I'm saying and they will do that. Because in that setup, this is a beast of IM. Way better than the SG01. Way better. Okay. TT Romso, Tipsy TT Romso, 12mm LCP. You know, crazy bass. And then yes, it has that 5-6-7K area, a little bit energized, a little bit, you know, above the rest of the of the initial mids of the Pina gain. But because of the bass that you have, you never feel that area is aggressive, and it is super fun. Yes, V-shaped, fine, W-shaped, whatever, prominent W-shape, whatever you want to say. The bass bleeds into the mids, fine. No, is it fun to listen? Hell yes. A hell of a lot of fun to listen to. Very tonally correct. It's super satisfying. Again, it's one of those IMs that I don't usually hear it a lot, but every time I go back to it, I'm like, wow, this is nice. This is really nice, you know. And that's the reality. It is a nice IM to listen to. Same thing goes for the Venture Electronics SIE. It's got I believe, an aluminum magnesium kind of diaphragm driver. Unbelievable. I respect those that don't like this kind of tuning, mind you, please. But the truth is this: if you approach these IMs with the preset of the tuning being not a Harman style, with the preset of the tuning being, oh no, these are very neutral bass, and no, if you approach it knowing that they are going to be colored, because they are all colored, this is unquestionably one of the IMs that will impress you the most. The Venture Electronics SIE, the TT Romso are absolutely amazing. Fair enough, we're talking $100, same thing as the Superior. Yes, fair enough, again, you can choose multiple other IEMs which are more audiophile correct. Fun? Hell yes, these two, a lot of fun. Where does this sit? This sits along the lines of having a lot of what the other ones offer in terms of having really full, great bass with great dynamics. It's got plenty impact, plenty guts, tonally very correct. Not as strong as the bass is not as prominent as on any other. Probably the one that approximates itself the most still, I would say, is the SG03 and SG01. The SG03S and the SG01 are probably the ones that have the closest bass to the Superior, although still a little bit more, still a little bit stronger, especially in the mid bass slam. So in terms of mid bass, it's probably, let's say, the one that's the most relaxed. Okay, so the one that's the most correct, let's put it that way. And then in terms of mids, upper mids and treble, it's basically a blonde 03. Okay, and then that balance that they've struck there, very nice. It gives us a very nice open sound, good for pop, good for, I mean, this is not for monitoring, forget that, but it's good for pop. It will do some EDM very well as well. It's good for pop, it's good for vocals, as long as you're not into K-pop or that kind of stuff where it's very vocal forward. If you, maybe there it will lack a little bit of sparkle, but otherwise pop music, rock, fantastic. It does it beautifully. Like I don't usually listen to a lot of rock, but I ended up listening to some rock just for the sake of seeing, and absolutely fantastic. In terms of its balance, sorry guys, as I was saying, in terms of the balance, in terms of it being more correct sounding, probably I would have to say that the Superior is the one that edges out the others slightly, only because that balance that they've struck between the bass quantity and the quantity then of the mids, upper mids and treble has been done within a narrower band. It's not so pronounced, this V or this W kind of signature, so it's probably in that aspect the most correct. In terms of its technicalities, detailed retrieval is, I guess you could say, acceptable for the price. Soundstage a little bit more on the close side, a little bit more intimate. Imaging acceptable as well, not bad. Definitely it's the tone and the tonality, the timbre and the tonality, that's the most satisfying, let's say, technical characteristic that it has. And then the imaging following that, it's got good resolution, decent resolution. Technically, and this not only applies to the Vermilion, but applies to any one of these. When we are talking about IEMs which are emphasized so much in the bass, as all of these are, you will suffer in terms of then how the technicalities, the detailed retrieval comes across. Funny enough, because of the fact that the Richo brothers here have a lot of extension up top, and especially in the SG03S you have that other nozzle which has the stock nozzle, which gives a lot of energy there in the mids, upper mids, and so technically it is very capable, although within certain limits of volume. And the same applies here to the TT Romso and to the SIE. They're also very technically capable. I would say overall, in terms of technicalities, the SIE, the TT Romso and the SG03S are probably the most complete technically wise, sorry. And then the Blonde, the SG01, and then the Superior, they fall into a second group of having acceptable technicalities. Obviously, when you consider then price, I mean, this is roughly $40, this is about $65, this is about $28 to $30 depending on where you get it from, $90, about $100, and this is about $100 as well. So when you consider then the issue of the price to performance, which is the IEMs here that or the ones that stand out? Well, two of them stand out quite significantly. the SG03S stands out because overall it's a very complete IM if you do that mod. Please keep that in mind. If you don't do that mod and you keep it with just the stock filter and how it is, then no, then I'm not gonna say that it's one of the better ones when you consider price and everything. But if you consider, or if you take into consideration the mod that I did and use that as a way to then judge it, then definitely yes, it's probably one of the better ones in terms of value for money. And funny enough, well, not funny enough, but let's be fair, the Vermilion, the Superior, although not technically the ideal, and and for the price especially, you can kind of say, oh, leaves a little bit to be desired. It is also not bad value for money. I think the Vermilion will satisfy more, to a certain extent, that crowd of people that might like the TT Romso and the CA, but will like it only for a little bit, and they will get very tired of it very quickly because it's got too much bass. So I think that the Superior is a good choice for those people. It's a good choice for those people that want an IM that has got some of that vibe that's going on there, with a nice, strong, lush, full bass, giving that organic, old school kind of sound. But at the same time, it's capable of being more audiophile, more correct, and ultimately less fatiguing, because this is the truth. When you have this much bass, it's the same thing like for treble heads. When you have this much bass, you can get tired of it after a while. Personally, it doesn't bug me. I because when I approach an IM, I go already kind of almost pre-programmed that I'm going to be listening to that IM. I know how it is. So very, very seldomly do I get bored of listening to that IEM, because I already have that mindset going into it. And that's it, guys. I mean, there's not really much more than what I what I can say. I mean, the Superior is a nice IEM. It is difficult to get your hands on it. I'll tell you that much. But if you're able to get your hands on it for the $100, it's nice. It's a very solid alternative to the more Harman style tuning that we have. It's well put together. It's well built. It comes from the QDC stable, so we know the quality there is guaranteed. The only real thing that I have, to point out as something that I was disappointed is with the cable. They could have given us a better cable. I mean, come on, this is the stock Richo cable. It's a nicer cable. It's a better cable, and that's that. As for the SG01, if you can get it at a really good price, I still think it's a solid purchase. Definitely is. The Blonde 03, if you are serious about this hobby, you have to have it. It's as simple as that. This is an IM that for whoever is serious about this hobby, you need to have a 03. That's my take on it. SG03S, really nice, well built, fantastic IM. Just the tuning in stock format is a little bit so if you are willing to do that little mod, which is very easy, you get the filters on AliExpress, 450, 400 or 450, it's up to you, and you just put it on one of the other filters that it comes, on one of the set of filters that brings with it, and that's it. You'll have one set which will give you loads of detail and all that, although volume will have to be something that you have to watch your hand with, and the other set of nozzles with the 450 or the 400 filter on it will give you absolutely that real nice organic old school sound. And like I said, the price and with the accessories that it brings, look, let me put it to you this way, I liked it so much that this is the second set that I bought, so I think that's saying a lot. Okay, and it brings really nice accessories, good box, everything, good carrying case, sorry. So that's it. The Venture Electronics and the TT Romso, they are $100. The TT Romso is not an easy one to get as well, but the Venture Electronics is pretty easy to get. Solid build. I mean, really nothing to say about it. And it's like I said, this is an alternative to these two. That's it. If you want to have something different, a little bit more correct, let's put it that way, the Vermilion. Anyway, guys, I'll just quickly show you now the graphs, because I've really been going on now for a while on this, and that's it. All right, see you now. Hey guys, and welcome now to the review for the QDC Superior, the red Vermilion. Excuse me, sorry about that. Anyway, this is the graph. As you can see, nice big thick bass. A little bit of a bleed into the mids, but nothing too dramatic. Initial pin gain peaks at 2, then there's that dip, then another peak at about 5, then another dip, couple related peak and extension. So you can say this is like a W kind of signature. Okay, so that's that one. First one I'm going to show you, SG01. SG01, very all normalized at 1K. Very similar, as you can see, just a little bit more mid bass and lower mids. Okay, more energy here on the upper mids as well, and definitely more extension past 10. So you do notice a more sense of air on the SG01. That is very noticeable. Okay, the interesting thing is, considering it's a graphene driver, you know I wasn't expecting this much. Well, this goes back already to the time where I originally reviewed it. So it's got a lot more extension than what you would think. Okay, it's this area here, however, that can be a little bit problematic. The upper mids can be a little bit problematic when you start cranking it up, and this scales. It doesn't scale in the most ideal manner, so it can get a little bit aggressive. But anyway, that's the SG01. Let me show you actually now the SG01 compared to the blonde, and I'm going to take away the QDC. So this is the blonde. Actually, let me change the color of the blonde so that it stands out. Okay, the blonde is in red. This is the blonde 03. Very similar, as you can see, just a little bit more there in the base below 100 hertz. So we're talking like maybe a 2-3 dB difference there, and then the rest is very similar, just more relaxed, more. Okay, and this balance just makes a more warmer sounding presentation, as opposed to the Richo's more detailed. Okay, the Richo obviously being more detailed retrieval and things like that are an improvement, but the blonde scales significantly better. Okay, compared, let me take away the Richo now, compared with the Superior, very similar, as you can see. I mean, this is very similar. The Superior's got less bass, less 3-4 dBs, okay, less mid bass definitely, and then more, not as peaky here in this 2 and 4K area. Okay, not as peaky, so it gives you an overall more smoother presentation. So you could say it's the same way as the SG01 is a different take of the blonde. Let me just put this one. A different take on the blonde kind of, let's say, philosophy, but brightens up the upper mids. Okay, and gives you more extension past 10. The Vermilion, the QDC, is a smoother take on the blonde philosophy by lowering the bass. Okay, it lowers the bass, so it makes everything come across smoother, although yes, you do have these peaks here being slightly more prominent than in the blonde. But it comes across smoother. Okay, and it's like I said, when you listen to it, it actually impresses you, because you look at the graph, and like many times is the case, and you think, oh, okay, this is gonna be, and no, it sounds really nice. Okay, anyway, that's the blonde there out of the way. Now let me show you the next one, which is oh yeah, let me just quickly show you here let me quickly show you here the SG03 S with both of its nozzles. This is with the black nozzle, and this is with the silver nozzle, and as you can see, there's basically no difference. So what I did was, keep the silver nozzle as it is. Don't change anything, and you'll have an IEM that's got plenty of detail. So what I did on the black one was I added the 450 filter, and not this one. I added the 450 filter. There we go. And by adding the 450 filter, what basically I did was I maintained everything the same as it is over there in terms of the extension, but I did away with those peaks at 2 and 4K. So made everything more harmonious. Let me just now quickly put some of the other graphs. This is the one I just put on now, and I'll just change the color. This is the SG01. Okay, this is the SG01 with the 03S with that little 450 damper on the black nozzle set. Smoother, same bass, smoother. It ends up having about the same detail, if not even more detail, but in a smoother presentation. It just comes across more polished, and above all, and that's the main thing, is when you crank up the volume, it scales nicely. It doesn't become aggressive as compared then to the QDC. I think it's very much self-explanatory. It's got more mid bass than the QDC, but the rest, what comes across comparing one and the other, very similar, honestly. Although the QDC, yes, it's got this dip here and apparently has less details up top, when you listen to one and to the other, they sound very, very, very similar. Okay, that's that. And now finally the TT Romso, which again straight away you can see what I was saying, loads of bass, and then that area there of around 5 to 6, 7K is emphasized. Okay, but loads, it's got loads of again atmosphere detail past 10K, but then the balance that it actually strikes doesn't make this stand out in a negative way. It just sounds nice, thick, with detail. That's how it comes across. And the same thing goes for the SIE. I mean, you can see the SIE, and let me just take away here the superior. The SIE and the TT Romso, they graph very, very similar, especially in terms of the bass. Up to 2K, they are exactly the same. And the SIE, again, nice thick bass, mids or well done. This energy that you have here in the treble is counteracted by what you have here from the bass. So it just comes across very easy to listen, very nice, very organic, very old school kind of sound. As compared to the Superior. The Superior will please more those that are not bass heads, definitely, because everything just comes across as more balanced. While the SIE is a V shape, definitely, this one here is more balanced. It's look, it is what it is. But the kind of the main, the premise, the idea of the tuning is that none of these are Harman tuned. None of these have got neutral basses. None of these have got a smooth or no. It's colored. Period. It's supposed to be fun. That's it. So there you have it, guys. I hope I was able to give you a good idea about the QDC Superior, the Red Vermilion. It's a nice IM, solid, like I said. If you want something different that goes against the usual tunings of Harman style, and you want something that not many people will undoubtedly have, because only if you can get it directly from Japan, from Amazon Japan, or from somewhere that's over there. The Red Vermilion is definitely a very solid, a very, very solid choice. Keeping in mind, and I just want to make this absolutely clear before I let you go, keep in mind that this is a colored IM. It is supposed to be tuned to be fun. It is supposed to be tuned to be engaging, satisfying, musical. That's the one thing that I can, the thing there that I think is important to also point out is that these IMs, when I say are supposed to be fun and so on and so forth, the main idea here was for them to be musical above everything, to be about the music, to be engaging to the music, not to be absolutely perfect, not for you to hear a female vocal or a male vocal done to ultimate perfection, but within that realm of being colored, of being emphasized, of being energetic. Do it well, do it in a nice, engaging manner. And definitely, be it the QDC, the Superior, be it the SG03S, be it the TT Romso, the SIE, or even the older blonde, and then SG01, all of them are musical. All of them are very satisfying IEMs to listen to. They are easy for you to like. All right, as always, like and subscribe, and don't forget, any questions, anything you want to know, please ask. I'll do my best to reply. I know I sometimes take a little bit of time, but I'll always do my best to reply to you. And if there's any other comparisons you want to be done, please also let me know. All right, you take care now. Bye-bye.